truth and preservation of our soul shine. I can feel it, yours and mine. Close your eyes and witness it inside. In your bones, you will know. Trust and let go, and let it flow.
Welcome to another episode of All Things in the Name of Love. This is my third podcast today, so I apologize. Today I have with me Reggie Bowles, who is a life coach and founder of Dreamers of the Day, among many, many other things. And I'm so grateful that you wanted to join me on my podcast. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
So I'm going to start out the questions with, tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Well, I actually originated here in Oklahoma, and then as I got older, I traveled around, and I investigated religion. I was raised in a basic conservative, I'd say, church, and I went on and studied different religions, things. I'm still consider myself a Christian, but I don't know if other people might consider me a Christian, but I do. And a spiritual journey and a success journey, and just learning what life is all about and how to make it work for you journey.
Love that. Have you always been curious about spirituality, or is this something?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Always curious. I mean, I've had strange personal occurrences in my life, and I know there's something more there than just what we see.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking into different things and investigating different things, and it's taken me on a pretty wild ride. And I think I've learned a few truths, still searching for other truths.
I've learned that the more I think I know, the less I actually do. So
Yes,
I get that.
excellent.
So since you mentioned strange things, I'm called to share one. When I was in grad school, my second semester, my grandmother died. And I threw my back out from stress, and my friend Nancy drove me to Syracuse, New York from Maine. And she was psychic, and she held my hand during the ceremony. She's like, for some reason, I'm being told to do this. And I'm like, okay, you can hold my hand. I saw the other side. And I saw how happy they were, like, oh my gosh, Anne, you're here. We've been waiting for you. We're so excited. And why are you wearing your glasses? Why did they leave your glasses? Somebody else could have used those glasses. Why did you like it was this bizarre conversation. But I felt the celebration. And so I'm completely disconnected from how everybody is mourning at the funeral, because like I'm feeling the celebration on the other side. And we get done, and Nancy's like, I need to go for a walk. I'm like, what's up? She's like, you didn't feel that? I'm like, oh, no, honey, I did. I just didn't know like that was going to have an impact on you. And it was like one of those very strange like experiences where I got to experience how little I know. So is there anything like that stands out for you?
Well, I've had experiences where I've seen things and heard things. Like when I was a little child, rocks fell on the house. Where did they come from? There's a rocking of the outside of the house.
Okay.
And so that was a kind of a strange experience. And
Yeah.
other strange experiences, and I've actually seen the future a couple of times in a dream.
Okay.
And at first I thought, I saw the future. And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. Did I create that future? And that is like a lot of things that got me into studying the manifesting and how that can work for you and how it can work against you. It always works. It either works for you or against you.
Yes, it does.
And I can't just think of strange experience off the bat, but I mean, just weird things and out of the line occurrences happen. And like I said, I started looking into things and studying, and I'm still searching, studying, but like I said, I know there's more there than just what we see.
That I get. That I get. I've taken the path of quantum physics because my left brain likes to study.
Hmm.
And it's pretty much the same thing. It's just like it's a different language, but it's the same thing because it's like how we're all connected. And quantum entanglement is pretty much like this connection that you and I have. It's we're entangled because we're connected with each other and we're attuned to each other. I feel that with animals. I'm actually sitting for a beautiful pitty right now who is definitely letting me know that she wants my attention while I'm talking. But I'm entangled with her because I made eye contact with her and I listened to what she needs. But that's, in another language, it's, it's the universal love that we have for each other. And so, yeah, it's just been a fascinating journey of forgetting what we've been taught and remembering who we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm big on is learning to trust your gut,
Mm-hmm.
learning to your gut instinct. Your gut speaks to you. I'll even go further. I think that's actually like God speaking to you. It speaks to you through your gut. There's two big things I'm into, like instinct and intent. What is your intent? What is your outcome? What are you searching to get? And your instinct was like a navigation system that'll help you get there.
Mm,
I mean, my grandfather was a water witcher.
that's cool.
He's very good at it. I've done it. I know it can be done. I'm not, I can't tell you where it's at and where the streams converge and all that. He could do all that. But I did learn as a child that I could do like this and I could find out where my mother was in the grocery store.
Mm,
And then years later, I had a girlfriend. I was living in California at the time, and she was off on a college campus. I had no idea where she was at. Just knew she was somewhere on campus. So I thought, well, I did this when I was a kid. Let's see if it still works. So I did this, and I went towards the window, and she was on the other side in class.
wow.
I had no idea, but these say energy, learn to use it, work for you instead of working against you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I don't want to get too woo-woo for some people, but these things that have worked for me, and I'm sure other people have had their own experience. Like I say, many people trip over the truth, but they pick themselves up and dust themselves off and act like nothing happened.
right. Oh, I've had that many, many times. I had an experience in Portland, Oregon, rather, where a dog led me to a homeless person. And
Mm-hmm.
I just felt something come through me. I don't know what it was. I still don't know what it was, but it was like some truth that he needed to hear. And as soon as he heard it, the dog shifted and pulled me away. And I was like, I'm just going to write that off, but I couldn't because, like, the dog literally just sat there waiting for me to speak what I needed to speak. And I was like, okay, this is wild that the dog knew that there had to be this interaction. And I had no idea because typically I don't stop and talk to homeless people.
Right.
But I needed to do that for this gentleman. And I felt a shift in his awareness that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Like, it's not so much here where I live now in Tulsa, but when I was living out in LA, I might be asked for money hundreds and even 1,000 times a day. And I always use, even then, I use my gut instinct, knew when to give, when not to give.
Yeah.
And it's just something I trust. And that's, I think it's also kept me alive in certain circumstances too. Learn to trust your gut.
Mhm.
And as we did in the modern world, quite often we got away from that. It's just like farmers used to basically live by this, by the yearly, what's the book that each farmer has for a
The
year?
Farmer's Almanac.
Yes, Farmer's Almanac. Yes. I mean, and like people put down the moon signs, but try planning against them. See, sometimes see what happens.
Oh
See, farmers
man,
were still more in touch with things like that back in the day.
I lived on a farm a few years ago, and she did Rudolf Steiner's biodynamic planting,
Hmm.
and it was moon cycles. It's like this plant needs to be planted on this day. This one needs to be planted on this day. That you need a gap in between them, and then these two other plants can be planted on these other days of the week. It thrived, and I didn't know that beforehand,
Hmm.
because it's not something we're taught. As like regular gardeners, we're not taught to like follow the cycles, but the plants really love it.
Right. My dad was a small-time rancher, had cattle,
Okay.
and one time he weaned a bunch of young steers, and they were just bawling their heads off. And our Aunt Dorothy said, "Roy, don't you know you're supposed to wean them by the moon?"
Wow.
And he let them out, and they about went crazy feeding when they got back to their mothers. But then he weaned them by the moon, and there was hardly a bellow. They were just bawling and bawling when he weaned them against the moon, and when he weaned them according to the moon, hardly any problem at all. So yeah, moon signs make a difference. Like I say, like I'm not that really big into astrology, but I know the moon signs work, and I think astrology may affect you, has an effect on you, but I don't live according to it. I follow my own inner path more for teaching me how to go and what to do. And I try to encourage others to learn to listen to their gut and follow their gut. I think that's a big part of life coaching. You make it like, don't depend on me to tell you to do everything. I'm trying to show you how you can follow your own path and learn your own way. If I even wrote a book of my life story, I'd call it something like stepping out of line, finding your own path. Because many ways I've gone a different. I didn't go the regular route, and most people at my age group did. I was kind of searching, and by searching, I found a lot of things. I think I have a lot now I can teach people and help people with. And like I said, I think I have a better take on manifestation than most people have.
I love that, because like when we go to that following your gut, following your intuition, it takes us down some pretty crazy paths that are for our benefit. I know the one time I did not follow my gut was when I got married to my first husband.
There you go.
Like my gut was like, do not do this. I'm like, yeah, but my parents already paid for, all the excuses. And he was a great teacher. I'll say that. He was a great teacher.
Failure can be a great teacher.
Yeah.
Sometimes a harsh teacher, but a great teacher.
Many teachers in my life. I can have a pause from teachers right now.
Yeah. That's why I say, I say, if you can learn from me, your path will be a little smoother, because I took all the kicks, all the hits, and now you can learn from me what not to do. Like I heard a pretty interesting story. This group of people got lost in the wilderness in Alaska, and they said, "We're lost, we're lost." And they say, "No, we're not lost, because we know not to go this way." As long as you don't know where not to go, you're never lost.
Right. Oh yeah. And Alaska, anything lost in Alaska?
We knew not to go this way, though, so we got a choice. We know not to go this way, so it's gonna be one of these other ways.
Right, right, and then that gives the opportunity to tune more in. I have a pretty good set of instincts, unless I'm in like Bellevue, Washington, which makes absolutely zero sense to me, because
Right.
But like innately, like right now I'm on the Oregon coast, and it's really funny because I'm on a lake 2 miles away from the ocean, and I didn't know such a thing existed. So I'm in this weirdly interesting space where I'm feeling the energy of the ocean, but I'm fully drawn to the energy of the lake.
Right.
And it's like an interesting balance between the two, because lake energy is completely different than the ocean.
Yeah, it is. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I lived on the West Coast for a while. I also lived up around Seattle for a while. I've been through Oregon, but I never actually lived there.
Oh, it's magical. I'll tell you that, it is magical. But what led you to starting your organization?
Okay, well, a while back I got involved studying manifesting and law of attraction.
Okay.
And I come back to that about where I found a lady that used to live down in Texas, little housewife, and the way she taught it and dealt with it made a lot of sense to me. And one of the guys that was in the movie, that famous manifestation movie.
Yeah, The Secret.
Yeah, The Secret. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys is in it says she should have been in The Secret. But I'll
Okay.
tell you about her later. But what got me into it, years ago, there was a guy called Art Bell. Have you ever heard of him? He had a late night radio program, very popular.
Okay.
I think Midnight in the Desert, it was called. And there was droughts. He had an offbeat program, dealing with all kinds of things, UFOs, ghosts, what have you. And there was a drought wherever there was a drought in America, and he had an experiment, had his listeners all concentrate or pray for rain in that area. Well, he quit doing it. Every time he'd do it, they'd have a flood.
Oh.
Yeah. Group intention, group power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you add this to manifestation, to me, it's manifestation on steroids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But getting back to my own journey in law of attraction manifestation, I started reading the books and looking into it, and it resonated with me. It made sense. Okay. But the different people that were doing it, there's too complicated, too many steps. I mean, well, you got to do this, you go this and this, and then go to my seminar and pay $75,000, whatever, just on and on and on.
Yeah.
That's too much. So I discovered this lady down in Texas called Helene Hatso. You ever heard of her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, quite a story. She's a little housewife down in Texas. And she said she had her needs met, but she had a lot of wants. Well, she read a book on positive thinking. And she didn't know any better. It's written by a doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Norman Vincent Peale is a doctor. So God knows.
Yeah.
So, she didn't have the doubt like most people.
Mm-hmm.
And she read one sentence and it really resonated with her. It said, you can have anything you want as long as you know what it is and you can see yourself as already having it. Mm-hmm. And that really made sense to her. So she went to her husband and said, what would you like to have? And he was, I can't remember if it was a magazine or a newspaper. As well, here's a contest for an outboard motor. Here's a fisherman. And so she put together a little 25-word thing about her husband, a lone wolf fisherman, and his coats are his silent partners, something like that. And she won the outboard motor. And after that, she won everything. I mean, just money, prizes, trips, cars, a house. I mean, you name it, she won it. Supposedly, it may have been a little hyperbole, but she supposedly won over 5,000 things.
Wow.
5,000 contests. But the thing is, she always won what she was trying to get. That's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. If she'd either win the money to get it or win the thing itself. Mm-hmm. And the hardest thing I think she ever had manifesting was a color TV. Color TVs, a couple of times. She would win TVs, but it was always a black and white. But she finally got, and her children had a little joke, mother is just colorblind. But she was very successful. And I learned, and her formula, when she broke it down to a formula. It's called SPEC, SPEC. Select, project, expect, collect. Select it. What do you want? What do you want to have, be, or do?
Yeah.
Project it. See yourself already having it. Now, I like the way I do it is like you should be associated, not disassociated. Let's say you want a car. Just use that as an illustration. It could be a necklace, whatever. Say you want a car. See it on your driveway. Don't see yourself in the car because that's disassociated. Your brain will think, well, I must be seeing somebody else because I can't be seeing myself. Mm. So, but if you want to see yourself in the car, see yourself holding the steering wheel. If you want to see yourself look in the rearview mirror, feel the seat, smell the new feeling. Feeling is very important in manifestation, I believe. And basically, she taught that any wish with enough energy behind it, it's all working with energy, has to manifest. And she went on and she called herself the sage from Texas, or the winning sage or whatever, because she was really into metaphysics and all that. But her basic premise, what she started with, was the Name and Claim It game, the book she wrote. And she said she started that because back in her day, all that stuff was considered woo-woo. Even herself, she was accused of being a witch. And she says, it's not witchcraft, it's wishcraft.
I love it. And
some people coined that term years later, and we wrote books, I think, called Wishcraft. She never got credit for it, but she was the first that brought that up.
That's beautiful. I love it because like that simplicity, because it can be, I've seen the complexities of like manifestation thing, and it really is about the feeling. Like, are you feeling like I practice this daily. Like, how do I feel? I connect with Mama Gaia because I love connecting with Mama Gaia, and I ground myself, and then I feel. And that reminds me, when I was little, I asked my minister how to pray, and he said, "Pray." I'm like, that's not helpful.
No.
But Greg Braden broke it down a couple of years ago, where he was talking about the feeling of it, and he was telling a story of a Native American who wanted rain, and he literally felt himself covered in rain,
Right.
and then the rain came.
Of course.
Yeah.
I can't think his name. There's a healer in the Ozarks, close to where I live, and he was talking about, he studied a lot of Ozark folk tradition and magic, and one of his teachers told him, "You need to be able to do this if you were in a jail cell. Don't be so ritualistic. You have to have all the herbs and the spices.
Yeah.
You don't need all that. It's basically intent and imagination."
I love that, because it does get too complex. I mean,
Yes.
I lived in Mount Shasta region for 3 years, and
Mhm.
a lot of unnecessary practices. I mean, they're great practices,
Right.
but like when it comes right down to it, it's like, it is the intent, it is the feeling, and it's like really feeling into what you want to bring into the world. And I think it gets convoluted a lot. I think a lot of people want to make it more complex than it needs to be.
Right. I mean, if that works for you, you need a ritual to do something. Like, there's different, like a little ritual that I suggest to people, like Helene Hatzel had, that if negative thoughts are thoughts you don't want to come into your head, and like, it's basically, once again, like going back to manifesting, it's think about what you do want and not think about what you don't want. And I'd use not think about what you don't want as a negative thought.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't really break down what they mean by negative or positive. Positive is what you want, negative is what you don't want. Well, you start thinking about what you don't want, or start doubting your ability to get what you want, put a rubber band on your wrist. We have a tendency to go away against pain, go away from pain. And if these thoughts are causing you pain, you won't want to think them so much. And it also brings you back to what you should be doing. You should be thinking about what you do want. Don't think about what you don't want. And I'm not saying you have to go around all day think about what you want. Just do it and let it go. But from time to time, think back, because if you think about what you want and you know you're going to get it, don't you feel pretty good? And that's what I say. I'm not against meditation or contemplation. Basically, I call manifesting contemplation. Everybody has different definitions. Well, I have my own definition of meditation, my own definition of contemplation. But this actually can help you with your health, besides getting the things you want. Because when you are in a space, when you have a compelling future, because you believe in your vision, it helps your health a lot, because you're feeling bad all the time is just going to destroy your health, going to destroy your immune system.
Yep.
Like I point out to people in my life coaching, Monday, more people commit suicide and die of a heart attack on Monday than any other day.
Really?
They cannot face another week of their life. So it's time to quit making compromises against yourself and start developing the life you want to live.
Yeah.
And it may take some time. Like I say, with my system, I believe there are no failures, just a delay in results. And and also sometimes you need to do a thing to make it happen. And sometimes, like manifest, sometimes they'll drop in your lap like a fairy's gift. I've had that where I'm manifesting for something and then boom, it's there. Other times I have to take a step. I have to do something. A story I love to tell about, a lot of people would like to win the lottery. And I break it down. Do you want to win the lottery? Or would you like to be a multimillionaire? The how is not important.
Right.
But getting back, okay, so what do you want? You would like to have a lot of money. Okay, great. But there's this story I like to tell. There's this guy. This is just a story. This guy was praying to win the lottery. And he prayed and he prayed. It was an earnest prayer. He's talking to Lord all the good things he's going to do when he wins the lottery. Please let me win the lottery. I need to win the lottery. I'll do great when I win the lottery. I'm going to help my friends, my family, blah, 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 blah. Well, days went into weeks and weeks went into months. He did not win the lottery. And he said, one night, Lord, what am I doing wrong? Why have I not won the lottery? And that night, the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, have you considered buying a ticket? See, sometimes you have to take a step.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Helene Hatzel's surviving son even said not too long ago in an interview, the man asked what was his mother's major trick on winning all the games and prizes. He said entering.
Yeah.
He said, a lot of people say, oh, I never win anything. When's the last time you entered?
Right. Yeah,
So
it is. You get to take the action. Like it's
yes, you got to take the action.
Yeah.
And like I said, sometimes they'll just drop in your lap. Other times you got to take an action. And that's why there's your intent. That's your manifestation, your intent. What's your end result? What are you after? And your instinct will help guide you how to get there. And because once you have it, your intent and you're guided by your instinct, and to me, it's like a guided missile. It will correct your course until you arrive. And that's why I teach, and that's what works for me. And once again, spec, I'm big on that in my manifestation. Select, project, expect, collect.
Mm-hmm.
Select it while you want to have, be, or do. Project it, see yourself already having it. Expect it. Just like you put your order in online, you put your order in a restaurant, it's coming. You have no doubt.
Yep. And
then you have to expect it, collect it. Collect it's the fun part. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. While you're on your trip, your life trip, remember to have fun. A lot of people, they think once I'm success, I can be happy. Why can't you be happy now and be happily go along becoming a success?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say you only need 3 things in life. Like I said, look, these things are so simple, but they're also so deep and complex. Mm-hmm. You need a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. Those 3 things are all you need success. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times you're going to have to stand firm. I mean, things may, your outside world is not matching your inside world. Mm-hmm. But you trust and believe in your inside world. Before long, your outside world will match your inside world. Yep. And that's where the backbone comes in. Mm-hmm. And fun bone, you got to have a sense of humor, and you got to have some kind of fun in your life. Remember, life can be fun. And also, once again, to quote Helene Hatzel, or she's quoting somebody else, names aren't coming to me right now.
Okay, it's okay.
Life is either a daring adventure or it is nothing. Mm-hmm. So life is going to take you for a loop, get along for the ride, and remember to have fun. Yeah. And if you get thrown off, get right back on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I totally get that, because like we can have that state. Like there's a point in my life when the last year I was working on my dissertation, I had the mantra, I will not pay the student loans back without the degree.
Right.
I gained 100 pounds that year because I was miserable.
Right.
And like within 3 months of graduating, I lost 70 of those pounds, because like, even though I thought that was my highest calling, it wasn't. But I did what I thought I was supposed to do. And when I released that, I was able to release the weight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another thing you have to, whether it's weight or anything, whatever is weighing on your life. Sometimes it's a person. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a thing. Quite often on your person's journey, they will naturally drop off. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you got to push them off. Like I say, even the top Olympic swimmer could not swim with a weight around his neck.
Right.
So why are you trying to be a success with this thing, whatever it is, around your neck?
Right. Right. No, it's a whole thing. And it's so fascinating because we have like, what is it? Like 90% or 97% of our brain is sub and unconscious.
Oh yeah. And that's another thing. Like when you're manifesting, like some people like to do this, and it's good. Like it's like some people do prayer beads, like get a marble or a pebble, one that you specifically choose out. And while you're going about your daily thing or just online, whatever, roll that pebble around in your hand And that kind of puts your manifestation into your subconscious
Mm-hmm.
because you're not really thinking about it, but you are thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a good way of doing that.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
And another thing I like to tell people, there's a study that you have been told no over 100,000 times before you reach age 18.
Mm.
No, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that, you're too small, you're too short, blah, 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 on and on. And then somebody like me comes along and says, I have to teach you in a short period of time. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And also, that's right. And also, like I like to point out, success has clues.
Mm-hmm.
Like you take, once again, I use money because that not necessarily success for everybody, but I use that as an illustration.
Mm-hmm.
You get 100 millionaires in a room. You'll find 100 different ways to make $1 million. But if you study their mindset, what they did, how they thought,
Mm-hmm.
almost all of them have the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Success leaves clues.
Yep.
They know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They see themselves having it, and they know they're going to get it. If I add anything else to it, it would be attitude. Now, what is attitude? That is your mental state or your self-image. How do you see yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself as a loser or a winner?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's an illustration. When a dog has a baby, it has a dog. It's a puppy, but he has a dog. Okay. Cat has babies, it has cats. When a God has babies, what does it have? Are you a child of God?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you're the big God, but you're God in your own life.
Yep.
And when you contemplate something, it can and will become reality.
Mm-hmm.
Once you realize who and what you are. And also, once you realize who and what you are, it fills you with such self-respect, such self-confidence. What can bother you? Bring it on.
I get that because, like, remembering, like, we're all children of God and we all have that spark within us, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So why don't we expect, like, if God is all-consuming love, which God is, and we're the fractal of that, why don't we have the unconditional, all-consuming love within us for ourselves?
Exactly.
And feel the worthiness of receiving it, because
Mm-hmm.
we already are that.
Does your God expect you to live under a bridge without any food? Yeah. Get some, once you realize who you are and start, like, hit your wagon to a star. That's your intent. What do you want? I mean, okay, forget your kid again this Christmas and you have anything you want. Put your order in.
Yep.
Like somebody, no, it works. It works. You just got to work it. You got to put a little time and effort into it. I mean, you're going to be sitting in that easy chair anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about what you want.
Yeah.
Don't think about what you don't want. It's as simple as that. And SPEC is a system I use and system I teach. And I think it makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, it does, because it's so simple and it's so profound. Because I mean, I love Joe Dispenza, and
Yeah.
and I've done the manifestation document that he suggests, and you're still intellectualizing it.
Right.
Because, like, you're writing down what you feel instead of just feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is just feeling into that state of, like, what does it feel like to have what I want?
Right.
Excuse me for a second.
That's all right. You have dogs interrupt you. I have children interrupt me. So,
And she's bored, so she's barking.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to go outside. But hey, no. Thank you, sweet girl. She's a pity. And
I was on one podcast and the guy kind of got bent out of shape because I had a child making noise in the background. Life.
I know. I had, like, about 4 years ago, I had a podcast, and I was living with my mom briefly, and she walks behind me, answers the door, answers the phone. I'm like pressing mute on myself all the time. And I could see my face getting like, and the guy that's on the other end is like, I'm surprised my daughter hasn't come in and asked what's for lunch yet. I'm like, thank you. Because like there's nothing I could do. I told her I was having a podcast with my
Right.
she forgot because she's on the dementia journey. So it was like,
Mhm.
what am I going to do? Like get mad at her for forgetting that I'm
Mhm.
sitting at my desk and doing a podcast, or just accept the fact that she forgot it.
Right.
So
That's what I talk about. The funny bone. You can't take yourself our things too serious.
oh yeah, yeah.
Because like I said, stress is a great killer. That's what I
Mhm.
talk about Monday.
Yeah,
If you don't learn to handle your stress, it's going to handle you.
yeah.
And
Yep.
so what kind of success being a life coach, what kind of success is that if you lose your health?
Oh yeah. Now,
Exactly.
health is like one of the most important things you can have, because
Oh,
like
yeah.
it doesn't matter
And a
how
lot
much
of the health is attitude. A lot of it is. You'd be surprised how much what your thoughts cannot do to you.
oh yeah. No, I know that for a fact. It's just fascinating to see how, like, for me, health is more important than anything else,
Mhm.
because I can't do anything if I'm not healthy. And
Right.
if you see me moving, it's because she's tucking me right now. But
That's love. That's love.
she's actually trying to get my attention away from you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What inspired you to start the Dreamers?
Well, besides what I talked about Art Bell and the group
Mhm,
attention and how powerful that can be,
mhm.
that's a big part of it. But also, too many people out there don't have access to a life coach.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, you expect to win a baseball or football game without a team or a coach?
Mhm.
I expect to win life without a team or a coach.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm big on that. And I believe making it affordable enough for anybody can get access to a life coach, which,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the group dynamic, the group tension, and you don't have to meet every day, or you are in person, and you meet online, you meet in small groups, whatever, but it's a group dynamic. Like I said, and you may have heard this from a lot of people, and it's true. You are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
Now, if you spend time around 4 successful, happy, healthy, dynamic people, guess what? You're going to be the 5th.
Mhm.
Just don't
Mhm.
get around it.
Yeah.
Energy. And
Yep.
that's what thought bringing a group together. Like I said, I could go for the high ticket. Yeah, the high price ticket. Let's go for the big bucks. But there's a lot of people being left behind that can build their life and do all these things if they just have somebody show them the way and show them how and just let them know, yes, this can be done.
Mhm.
Remember the guy who broke the 4-minute mile?
Yeah.
Right after he broke it, a whole bunch of people broke it.
Yeah.
He showed it could be done.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people, they don't know what's out there. They don't know what their options are.
Right. Right.
And even if they see other people, well, I could never do that. Well, what's so special about this person? Well, you don't know about my background. I don't have to know about your background.
Right.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has a hard luck story. Believe me, I got money. You probably don't want to hear it. I don't really want to hear yours, but you can get past that.
Mhm.
Everybody, like, and so many people, even they're adult, they blame their parents.
Mhm.
That's why I tell them at a certain point in your life, you're at the wheel.
Yep. Yep.
And your parents love them or forget them,
Mhm.
but they did the best they knew. It's
Yep.
time for you to go on and do what you do now. And like I say, if you're a parent, try not to make the mistakes your parents made with you. That's
Mhm.
the best way to know. Here's what they did. Well, you do something else.
Yeah. No, I love that, because like there is this point past which, I pretty much everyone on the planet has trauma, right?
Yes. Mhm.
How do we want that to dictate how we show up in the world?
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many modalities to help you heal that.
Mhm.
And it's like not leaving me alone. Um,
I heard a guy say one time really resonated with me. He said, I'm walking past my past.
Mm,
Yeah. Well, it's back there. There's a
yeah.
reason. Let's talk the car analogy again. There's a reason why the front window is so wide and big and rear view mirror is so small.
Mm-hmm.
What's behind you is not near as important as what's in front of you.
Right. Right. 100%. Because like we can dwell on the past and then we're just repeating it
Yes.
because that's what we're placing our focus on. And what brings us joy isn't reliving the trauma.
No.
And yeah, of course, like I had this last night. I had a piece of me that is in my subconscious that came into my conscious awareness. Not happy about it, but I get to process it. But like that's not informing who I am. It's just an aspect of me that I get to be present with and heal. And then I can be back to the state of joy and presence and manifesting that is part of who I am. So
I heard some people say this recently. I heard it even years ago. I had different answers all along. What would you tell your 18-year-old self that you know now? I mean, what? And all of that had all kinds of. Now I'm not sure if I tell him anything because
yeah,
all these things made me what I
yeah,
am today.
yeah,
And I'm pretty happy with that.
yeah.
And if I had to tell him anything, I'd just say, "Hang in there. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get to it. You're gonna get to it. Just hang in there.
Yeah.
Just hang in there. You'll get through it."
I had one of my friends recently say, because she caught me saying I was using the phrase my little girl. And she said, that's called disassociation. That's you.
Right.
Like, oh, you're right. Like I'm trying to like separate her from me, but she is me. So like that's why wouldn't I celebrate all of me? There's no part of me that I don't love because I'm the person I am today because of all the experiences I've had.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good or bad or whatever is irrelevant. It's just,
That's another thing. So many people, they just remember the rough points.
yeah.
And they don't see or think back all the time they succeeded. You have
Mhm.
succeeded. You've done a lot of things. If you would think back on it, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I got through that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I got through
Mhm.
that. But for some reason, we kick ourselves instead of,
Mhm.
congratulate ourselves.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's what I
Because
say. Even small victories in your life, you need to, pop the champagne, eat the
oh
cake.
yeah. Oh, well, this is funny. Yesterday I decided my first time of trying to make marshmallows.
Oh yeah.
The recipe was wrong
Mhm.
because it asked for a quarter of a cup of gelatin,
Right.
not that much water. I was like, I think the recipe was written wrong, but I went with it anyways. And it turned out to be a colossal disaster. But I was like, you know what? I tried
Right.
and I played because, it's one of those areas I've been baking since I was 4. So, like, I'm okay if there's a failure because I could sense that the recipe was like completely out of proportion. And even if it wasn't, it's okay.
Right.
So, giving permission for the failure, well, the quote unquote failures is part of the learning process.
Mhm.
And I didn't judge myself. I was like, oh, well, that got messed up. That's okay. And having that permission not to be in that state of judgment, which is part of our culture, is like we judge ourselves so
Right. Mhm. Yes.
um to just see it as like, oh, okay, that didn't work.
Like
It's
I tell people, don't beat up on yourself. There's plenty of other people do that for you.
mhm,
They're out there. They're standing in line. You don't need to beat up on yourself.
yeah. Yeah, and once we figure out how to love ourselves more, and that's practice of just like catching ourselves with a rubber
Right.
band and all the other
Mhm.
techniques, and we remember that we're just loved for who we are. It takes a lot of pressure off to be
Yeah.
the perfect being or whatever we think we're supposed to be.
I heard I think some people think like change is so overwhelming. And like
Mhm,
I like to tell people, and I've heard this, it makes sense to me that we are not our behavior.
mhm.
Maybe you can't change, but you can change your behavior.
Yep.
You can step out on the left foot instead of the right foot.
Mhm.
Small changes down the line are
Yeah.
a big change.
Yep.
Now, use a sport analogy, like when the quarterback throws the ball. If he's just a small fraction,
Mhm.
here, it's going to be way off down the field.
Yep.
And like somebody's talked about that in golf, you're a meter away from success or
Mhm.
failure.
Yep.
You're a meter over there, a meter over there, and it seems like way down, and it goes way off, but it's just a slightly off back here.
Yeah.
So little changes now. Like some people oh, I'm going to lose that weight, and then just throw all this stuff into themselves all at once. Well, you didn't get overweight overnight, did you? So why are you trying to lose it all overnight?
Yeah.
Gradual changes, little changes in life make a big change down the road.
Mhm. I completely agree with that.
Man, if you do decide to eat the cake, enjoy it. Don't feel guilty while eating the cake. Enjoy the cake, then get back on the
Mhm.
bicycle or whatever.
Right.
And
Oh
start
yeah,
again.
because like having that balance too is so important.
Oh yeah. And that's another thing. People like say, what percentage is work and what percentage is manifestation? And I say, I'm not an accountant. I'm not into
Mhm.
percentages. To me,
Yep.
it's a dance.
Yep.
It's a dance. They work together. It's a dance.
Mhm.
You
I
got to
agree.
kind of navigate between the two.
Mhm.
Well, sometimes when you see the opportunity, you put the pedal to the metal. Other
Mhm.
times, you just step back. I'm going to let the universe, God, whatever, take care of this thing.
Yep.
I'm just going to I know where I'm headed. I know what I want to do, and I'm not going to worry about the how. Now, there's another thing. Too many people worry about the how. The how is not important. The why. Now, that's very important. You got a big why. It's a lot better than any how. If you
Mhm.
have a why, you want the thing. A
Mhm.
why, you don't even need a motivation if you got a big why.
Mhm.
The big why will pull you and push you towards the way you want to go.
Mhm.
There's that why. That can be yourself, your children are just like, I'm going to show I can do it this time. And that's another thing. If you have a voice in your head that's telling you you're no good, like I said, you've been told a
Mhm.
100,000 times or more by age 18, no. Well, that voice can still be there. Well, you maybe can't replace the voice, but let's put another voice in there that says, watch me.
Yeah.
You watch. You watch. And you have a picture like bad things in your past. Well, you might not can do away that picture, but you get a new, brighter picture.
Mhm.
You can shrink that picture and have this big, cinematic picture of your future successful self. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you step into it.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's out there and it's possible. No, more people need to know they can do it. And that's why I have the group. Of course, the group, I make money off the group, of course, but I could make probably more money if I did single upsells. I'm
Mhm.
saying someday this may come to bite me in the butt, but I'm not going to do upsells. I think
Mhm.
if you buy a book, the book should tell you what to do. If you buy a course, the course should tell you what to do. It's not buy this course, now you buy my next course and my next course and my next course.
Right.
To me, that's distasteful, but teach their own.
I get it.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
that's why I put the group together. And like I said, group energy, dreamwork makes a teamwork.
Mhm.
A person can manifest on their own, but I think it's a lot easier. You got a coach and a team behind you
Oh yeah.
because the roadblocks you're going to run into, many of these people already have run
Mhm.
into. They can tell you how they got over, around it, under it, or through it.
Yep. Yep. I love
That's
that.
what their team comes in. And
Mhm.
another thing, once the person starts manifesting, I suggest people keep it to yourself.
Mhm.
Don't tell.
Mhm.
Unless you're around a group of like-minded people, then
Mhm.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Like Eileen Hatzel even used to say, once you get serious about this thing, join a group. Now, her group was like contesters. They were contesters like her.
Okay.
So they were basically all went through the same thing. But
Mhm.
her famous saying was, no bragging before bagging.
Mm.
Now, you get some wins under your belt, then you can tell people what you're doing. But
Right.
when you first start manifesting, don't tell anybody.
Right. Right.
Because people are going to just like, oh yeah, right, yeah, okay, sure, yeah. I tried that stuff a while
Right.
back. Yeah, it don't work. I read all the books. Blah blah blah. Nope, you just do it.
Mhm.
You know that run silent, run deep.
Yeah.
and just let your wins speak for themselves.
Mhm.
But except for inside of a group of like thinking people. Now, once again, I talk about energy, how important energy is. Like like I said, it's wishcraft, not witchcraft. But
Mhm.
even the witches know covens. Why do you
Yeah.
think they get in covens?
Yeah.
Like minded people all thinking the same.
Yep.
Like I said, I myself am a Christian, but I've met witches who are more spiritual than most Christians. Because when
Mhm.
they ask for something, they expect to get it. A lot of
Mhm.
Christians, when they pray, they don't expect anything.
Right. It's
So
more like a begging.
yeah, they have a better
God,
sense of
please,
yeah.
please help me. And
But
that's
even then, they don't really expect to get it.
Mhm.
And witch, when she does her spell, she fully expects that spell to come to
Mhm.
pass.
Yeah.
So, like I say, even they are more spiritual in my mind than a lot of so-called Christians and Buddhists and Hindus or whatever other religion. Some of them are very, very spiritual. So,
Yeah.
like I say, I'm not telling everybody, I'm not trying to teach anybody in religion, not trying to push anybody in religion, but what works, works.
Mhm.
That's why I always say, does it work?
Yeah.
I'm not, does it work? Like
Mhm.
there's a famous saying from a former Chinese prime minister when they were kind of leaving communism, becoming more capitalistic. Says, I don't care what color the cat is, does it catch mice?
Mhm.
Does it work?
Yep.
Bottom line. And like I say, I do just manifestation is big, but I go into nutrition, exercise, and all that. So my own ideas, and if they resonate, work with you, fine. You think you can do something else better, and when I get into my exercise part, I get more controversy and kickback than I do when I'm talking about manifestation, because I have a more simplistic, I guess, idea of exercise than a lot of these people have. And I say one of the biggest ripoffs I think in personal training is the Pilates or the Swiss ball.
Mm.
Yeah. So are you trying to exercise or are you trying to balance? You think you're exercising when you're balancing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, how they use it, it's a prescription for injury.
Mm.
It's just like a weight training. I'm not completely against weight training. I'm more into using your own body weight.
Mhm.
I think it's safer. Very seldom do you hear about somebody hurting themselves using their body weight
Yeah.
exercise. But many times you hear about a weight trainer hurting himself.
Yeah.
So what good is all your progress if you injure yourself?
Right.
But if you do decide to weight train, do it in a safe manner.
Mhm.
You know, don't throw the, and that's the problem I have with kettlebells too. A kettlebell is just a handle on a cannonball.
Mhm.
It's still just weight, but they act like, well, there's some special with the kettlebell.
Right.
Well, what? It's still weight, just like a dumbbell or a barbell.
Mhm.
A lot of them are using it, are almost juggling these things. It's a prescription for injury.
Yeah, it is.
And I get more kickback telling people about that than I do telling people about manifestation. And
Because
like when I say nutrition. Now, myself and my own self, I would say go more organic or more kosher. And then that's not for religious reasons. I think for
Mhm.
health reasons. It's a healthy way to eat.
Yeah.
But there's no hard and fast rules when it comes to nutrition. They studied 100 people that were in their hundreds or more. There's in their hundreds past. Everyone was in good health.
Mhm.
There was no common denominator when it came to nutrition. They all ate differently. Some were vegetarians, some were meat eaters, some did this, some ate fish, some would not eat fish, some ate monkey brains. Raw
Mhm.
monkey brains, but they were all healthy in their hundreds. Now, what was coming in? They all had basically a good attitude when it came towards life.
Mhm.
Their attitude.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you kind of, and that's why I trust in your gut. You know what food is good for you.
Mhm.
A pregnant woman might eat some kind of wild because there's something in her that says this something in this food the baby needs. That's
Mhm.
intuition,
Yeah.
instinct,
Mhm.
and you'll trust that even your dieting or your nutrition. But basically, myself, the closer you get to organic, probably the better off you're going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any hard and fast rules. I tell people if beans makes you feel like a tiger, eat beans. If steak makes you feel like a tiger, eat steak.
Mhm. I agree.
And teach their own. Well, if it works for you, hey,
Yeah, exactly.
right. But I tell them like I say, as a life coach, I tell them what's worked for me. Now
Mhm.
you can try that and see if it works for you. That's basically how I go about life coaching.
That makes
I
sense.
think I make it affordable for anybody. And you may not always see me face to face, but you can see me online. Besides my group, I have a private Facebook group.
Mm.
The people that are parts of Dreamers of the Day can be in that as well, and that way you communicate. And so, like I say, team is all important, coaches are all important, but you think you can do it on your own? Drive on. I think I've given enough information just today where a person, if they want to, can change and improve their life.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to ask the final question, and that
Okay.
is, how do people find you?
Okay, it's Dreamers of the Day. You can find it online, or I'm all over social media. Reggie Bowles, ReggieBowles, or Our Dream is the page for Dreamers of the Day. It's small case R Dream DREAM is.com.
Mm.
Our Dream is, but
Oh,
it's R instead of the letter R, and then Dream is,
mm.
and join up. Or get in touch with me. If you got anybody have any questions, like I say, I'm all over social media. I'm on X. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. A couple others, but I don't visit them as much. But I'm pretty much on those. And you can find me on X pretty easy. I'm
Thank you.
even on LinkedIn. I'm hardly ever there, but I'm there.
Thank you so much for your time and the
You're
wisdom you
welcome.
shared. I really appreciate you.
I hope I've helped somebody today.
I hope so too.
Remember, you're one decision away from your future.
Mhm. Thank you.
You bet.